Major funding for these programs is made possible by grants from Capital One Bank, New York Community Bank, Eastern Consolidated, M&T Bank, Customers Bank, Meridian Capital Group, Terra CRG, the Witkoff Group, Perfect Building Maintenance, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Chase Commercial Mortgage Lending, Genova Burns. Additional support is made possible by AKA Hotels, Corman Communities, AmTrust Title, Ariel Property Advisors, AVR Realty Company, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Bank Leumi USA, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Citizens Bank, Connect One Bank, Colliers International NYC, Collins Building Services, CPEX Real Estate Services, Dime Savings Bank of Williamsburg, Douglaston Development, Levine Builders, Fisher Brothers, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Hendler Real Estate Organization, Hersha Hospitality, HAP, Investment Developers, Hodges Ward Elliott Inc., Investors Bank, iFunding, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Center at Syracuse University, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Madison Realty Capital, Matone Group, Mercantile Commerce Bank, New Banks, Newmark Grubb Knight Frank, Optimum Window Manufacturing Corp., People's United Bank, Pulcinelli, Rosewood Realty Services, SJP Properties, Sterling National Bank, Stonehenge Partners, TD Bank, The Continuum Company, the Knackle Group at Cushman and Wakefield, the Meringoff Family Foundation, the Moynihan Group, and these friends.
Israel, Australia, Pennsylvania, Easton, Iowa, Merrick. You know, I'm going to have a newspaper route. I'm going to work in a coffee shop, in a restaurant. I'm going to, you know, now I'm going to get involved in work. I'm going to sell puppies. Kid, you shouldn't be in puppies. You should be in real estate. Puppies to real estate to management. I have an interesting guy today. I have a kid born in Israel, Midi Liebmanson. Thanks for being here.
A kid. Thank you.
So let's go back to the story about your parents. Tell me about your father and your mother.
My dad was a Holocaust survivor. He was originally from East Germany. When he was 10, his family was deported to the Riga ghetto. And then over the next 4 years, they were transported to different work camps and ultimately ended up in a concentration camp near the Baltic Sea called Stutthof.
And what year is this? Late 40s, 44?
I think maybe a little earlier, 42, 43.
So he's at this time 12 years of age? About
Younger, 10, 11. And so they ended up in Stutthof, where they were until the Allies came. So when the Allies came, rather than just allow the prisoners to be freed, there was a death march to the Baltic Sea. My grandfather, my father's father, had been killed already. So the three, my father, his sister, and his mother, were in this death march. She fell during the death march and was shot and killed. I went back to that place with my father 40 years later, and we found the tree.
And his sister, you said?
His sister and he, when on the death march, were put out to barges where everyone was just randomly shot. His sister was shot, survived the shooting, but then when they were all brought back to shore, she died of complications after. So at the age of 13, he was an orphan and ultimately was on a ship to Israel.
So when does he arrive in Israel?
when he's 13, I don't know the exact date, he found an aunt and uncle that had also gone to Israel. But as I understand it, he was like an animal after all of these years in the camps. And they couldn't control him. So he ultimately ended up joining the Israeli army. And he stayed in the Israeli army.
Is that where he met your mother?
Right, where he ultimately met my mother.
Tell about your mother.
My mother, her parents were originally from Poland, then ended up in Israel, before Israel, Palestine. She was born in Palestine and grew up normal life.
So your parents get married in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what year they got married?
It was for 55.
55, and then you're born in 56.
58.
58.
Yes.
And at that time, you're living in Israel?
Yep.
And what's Dad doing at this time?
Odd jobs. Had no formal education whatsoever. And our family unit really was all about my mother's mother, my maternal grandmother, who was this larger-than-life woman. And she was getting all of these prolific jobs. And ultimately, she got a job in Australia, and we all followed her to Australia.
What did your father do when he was in Australia?
Again, odd jobs.
Odd jobs.
Yeah.
So how'd they get from Australia to Iowa?
Again, my maternal grandmother got a job as one of the superintendents of schools in Des Moines. Big position. Family all shifts over, and we go to Des Moines.
Then you follow. Then it goes to Eastern Pennsylvania.
Right. Then everything shifted, because my father ended up getting into the plastics industry. And so he ended up managing a factory in Eastern Pennsylvania, and the family emphasis, the family dynamics all shifted to him. And so we ended up in Eastern Pennsylvania.
So when do you move to Merrick?
He got another position to be with a plastics factory in Long Island. And so when I was about 13, we moved to Long Island.
So you're 13 years of age, you're in Merrick, okay, which at that time, you know, was still the suburbs, okay, wasn't that community. And you said you had a couple of odd jobs at that time. You had a paper route or something?
I was a kid, like every other kid,
Right.
you know, the
But
paper route, but always worked.
But you loved it. You said you loved living in Merrick as a
Yeah.
kid. When did you get involved with the restaurant?
There was another odd job, I think it was 15 or 16. It was a busboy at the Apollo Diner in East Meadow.
But you told me one of the best jobs from the restaurant was the Nassau Coliseum, right?
Right, so after that, a friend of mine got a job as a busboy in the Nassau Coliseum. And he ultimately got me the job as well. And it was fantastic. It was the 70s. The Islanders were everything. So we worked in the restaurant in the Nassau Coliseum before the games. And then we got to sit on Zamboni during the games. Oh my God, it was the greatest. And all the concerts. We would work before the concerts and then be backstage for Queen, Styx, all of the great acts of the 70s.
You said to me when we got together that you wanted to be an actor. In high school, what happened? Where did this acting come from?
It's because I was a really bad student in just about everything else, so that seemed to work for me. And my high school had a really great acting program. And so I got involved with it and ultimately did that in college as well.
Okay, we understand Iowa, Pennsylvania, Merrick, Long Island, Oswego, New York?
SUNY Oswego.
Why SUNY Oswego?
They had a really good theater department.
But you also said you, at that time, besides theater, you wanted to be pre-med.
My parents wanted me to be pre-med. That was probably...
That was part of the heritage, okay?
Right, absolutely.
That, you know, every generation, Holocaust or the middle, after the Depression, you have to be a doctor. It's
Absolutely.
going to be something that would help.
Absolutely. And I had an internship freshman year at a hospital. And clearly, being a doctor was not going to be what I was going to do.
Now, Oswego was the home of what? Al Roker and who was the other?
Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah. Same years as me.
So, the same year as you.
Yeah.
But you come back at the end of that year, right? And you go to Hofstra.
Right.
But when you're at Hofstra, how'd you get a job at Puppy Palace?
I just went for the first job that I could get. I went to
And now
Roosevelt Field.
Puppy Palace was in the famed Roosevelt Field
Right.
shopping center. And tell that story of that day when you're 19 years of age and this guy comes in disheveled, unkempt, and you said he wanted a terrier?
He wanted anything, basically. But I tried to sell him a Cairn Terrier. And he looked like a bagman. Completely dressed, torn sweatpants, dirty T-shirt, no socks. I didn't think he could afford the dog. But I spent the morning trying to sell him this dog. And he left. Came back after lunch. He said, "Where's my dog?" I said, "You left. I sold it to somebody else." So he said, "Well, I have to buy a dog." So I spent a lot of time with him. I gave him free dog food and free collars and free leashes, anything to make the sale. And he agreed. We go up. He's going to pay for the dog. And he says, "How much of a commission are you going to make on this?" So I said, like 20, 25 bucks. I'm doing this part-time, going to school at Hofstra. He said, $20. If you're going to be a salesperson, why wouldn't you sell the things with the biggest commissions? And he said, barring nuclear armaments, that would be commercial real estate. And he said, if you can sell me a dog, you're going to work with me. And as he's paying, a stretch limo came to pick him and the dog up. And I just couldn't believe it. So
what happens? You go home?
He gave me his card. I gave it to my dad, who was alive then. And he checked out who this guy was. And he was one of the top brokers in New York City. And so I called him. He said, "Come into the city. I want to talk to you." And
his name
that
was
was
what?
it. Barry Smith.
And he was with Sutton in Town.
He had started Sutton in Town when he was 29 years old. And when I went to see him, there was a plaque on his reception wall. And it was Success Before 30. And it was all about how he had started this company when he was 29 years old. And now it was one of the top 3 or 4 companies.
So how old was Barry at this time when you met him? Mid-50s or early?
No. When I met him, he was in his mid-40s. And he was crazy. He was just a wild man. But everybody was in the industry then.
So you go home. What do you say to your father? I mean...
Well, it was really more him saying to me, acting... Nah, I don't think so. Commercial real estate sounds great. Why don't you give it a shot?
So you give up the job at Puppy Palace.
Yeah.
And do you go to work for Sutton in Manhattan or in the island?
No, in Long Island.
And what do you do over there?
I was
19 years of age. The only real estate that you knew was real estate, perhaps from visiting different places around the country.
Yeah, and I don't think I even knew that
and
at that
and
point.
you didn't really know what an office building was. And Sutton in Town was a office leasing broker.
Yeah. So Sutton in Town at that point had a pretty big presence in Long Island. And so I was put in Lake Success, where a gentleman by the name of Irving Feldman owned a brand new complex at that time. And I was put out on the street, canvas, go and find tenants. And I did. In my first 6 months, I found 2 tenants, and I made 2 deals really quickly. Gross commission for both deals combined was $600. But Barry Smith called me and said, clearly you have it. And I want you to come to New York. I want you to
$600 would have equated to approximately...
about $1.85.
No, not the $1.85, $25 a dog. I'm trying to put it over there. So it would have been, 24
It was a
dogs.
big payday,
Right.
payday.
So he then says, "Hey kid, come to Manhattan."
Yeah.
So what happens in Manhattan?
It was great. They had a bullpen of crazy, great brokers, and I was put into the mailroom because they didn't have room in the bullpen at that point. So I worked out of the mailroom for a while, and then got shifted into the bullpen. That was a big day.
Now, one of the things that happened early on is there was a building being built at 101 Park Avenue.
Right.
There was an existing structure, and Peter Calico was taking the steel and reconstructing it on 41st Street. And what does the young Mitty Lieberson get?
Well, so I was canvassing 200 Park Avenue. And at that point, Foot Cone and Belding Advertising was a big entity. And you could foot canvass at that point, and I did, and I knocked on Foot Cone and Belding's door, and I actually got through to the head of real estate, who was a wonderful gentleman named Walter Reed. And he was a big, imposing guy that reminded me of my dad, and he told me that he had just signed a lease to move over to 101 Park Avenue, and that Ed Gordon and company had represented him in that, but that they were going to be subleasing 2 floors in the building. And I went crazy. I said, if you're subleasing 2 floors, you have to give me an opportunity. I will work 24/7. I will get this done for you. And by the end of the meeting, he said, do it.
You get the assignment, but then something happens that nearly took you out of the real estate business. What happens?
Then the best way to advertise was in the Sunday Times. And Mr. Reed said he was going to take care of putting an ad in the Sunday Times. And he did. He put in a half-page ad with a picture of the building, and it said, for space, contact Mitty Lieberson. And I woke up on Sunday morning, and I saw this ad, showed it to my parents. We were going crazy. It was fantastic.
I mean, the kid has his name in the paper.
It was
Sunday
unbelievable.
Times, the real estate section.
Right.
What happens on Monday morning?
So on Monday morning, I get to the office about 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm so excited to be getting phone calls. And the first phone call I got was from Ed Gordon,
The legendary Edward S. Gordon.
the man. And he starts screaming at me and saying that I should get out of the business. Just pack everything up right now, get out of the business.
The reason was because he was the agent for the building.
Right. And the ad did not say, call Mitty for sublease space. It just said, call Mitty for space. He had every reason to be berserk, but I didn't know it at the time.
So was it Barry who you spoke to or someone else?
No, he had a partner named Bill Weinbaum, who was friends with Ed Gordon. So they had a very animated conversation about this. And thankfully, I'm still in the business.
And what happens, Barry?
So Barry died and sort of lost the connection with the company at that time. And so then went over to Cross and Brown Company, which at the time was still very large and pretty prolific. And so was there for a little bit. And on my 29th birthday, I got a call from Bruce Mosler, Mitch Konsker, and Paul Glickman.
And you remember Barry's sign
Absolutely.
saying what?
Success before 30.
So
And literally, I got this call on my 29th birthday.
You're 29. The Konsker's how old at this time?
26, 27.
Mosler's how old?
My age.
And who was the fourth?
Glickman.
And he's?
He's also 26, 27.
So these 5 young Turks, right?
No, 4 of us at that point.
Four,
Yeah.
young Turks. You get a phone call, and what are they planning to do?
So they said, we've been following your career. You probably have been following ours. We have an opportunity to start a new business. Come and join us as a partner. And I was 29, literally on my birthday. And I remember it.
Now,
I said, I have to
did
do
they
it.
have any backing or?
Yeah, Alvin Dorman.
The legendary Alvin Dorman.
Legendary, from East River Savings Bank. Said,
That was one
"Go
of
and do this."
one of Alvin's many businesses.
Yeah.
Right?
And he had a really close personal relationship with Bruce. And he said, do this. So we started a company called Riverbank Realty.
Where was the office of Riverbank Realty? In the East River Savings Bank building?
No. We started with about, I guess, 1,500 feet over at 555 Madison. And then we grew. At the time, boutique firms could make it. And so we then moved over to 595th, and it was great. We took off.
So what happens later? Because the Young Turks are building a business. At that time, you were married, I think.
I'd gotten
right?
married
You
by
had-
that point.
Okay. You had some kids. You moved up to Chappaqua.
Yeah.
And Alvin was a businessman, a unique businessman. And then there was this company called Galbraith. How does Galbraith and
Well, Galbraith
And
had
Riverbank.
nationally, they were prolific, really a prolific family, and but their New York presence was small, and so we started a dialogue with them about merging, and we did. We merged. We brought them a lot of life. Their-
Young Blood is one.
Young blood, yeah. And so we were there, and Dan Galbraith was alive at the time, great gentleman. And we had a really great run.
So this company was now called Galbraith
Riverbank. Right.
And each one of you are doing what at the company at this time?
We all sort of found our niche,
So what was your niche?
national accounts. I just enjoyed it. I realized that if a client really respected how I represented them in New York, and they had other offices around the country, why wouldn't they have me do that for them in other places?
And that's why you needed an entity like a Galbraith, which had
the
a national
national
presence.
presence, right.
Riverbank was great for a boutique presence, but then you couldn't do your business over there.
Exactly. And it worked. The other guys had their niche. Bruce was going after the larger deals at that point. Paul and Mitch were going after agency work. So we all found our niche, and it worked very well.
So how long you were at Galbraith?
About 5 years.
And then what happens?
Mr. Galbraith passed away, and at about the same time, Cushman & Wakefield had lost a bit of market share at that time, and they were looking to beef up.
And how old are you at this time? About 38?
Yeah, I think that's right.
So so did they take over the Galbraith office, or they took over the team?
No, just the team. And the team at that point was about 8, 9, or 10 of us. And we all went over to Cushman, and we had a 15-year run at Cushman.
At Cushman, you remained active in the national scene.
Always.
On the national accounts.
Always.
Who were your clients in certain notable deals that you had when you were working at Cushman?
Yeah, represented New York Life for many years on just about all of their real estate. Assisted JetBlue, met JetBlue when they were about in 2,000 or 3,000 feet, and grew them to 350,000 feet.
You mean when they were in Queens in the Muss Building?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And then you took them...
They weren't in the Muss Building first. I brought them to the Muss
So
Building.
you took them to the Muss Building, and then you took them to a place that was not really growing, where they originally planning a tech building, the Brewster Building in Long Island
Correct.
City.
Peter Rigardi and I did that.
Right.
Yeah.
Over there for JetBlue. So you're at Cushman for about 15 years, and then you get another opportunity to go to the main Jones Lang LaSalle, which later on became JLL.
Mm-hmm.
And this time the team continues going, but without Bruce.
Without Bruce. Bruce had gone into first management.
Right, and then he became president and CEO of the...
Correct, of C&W, and then went back into brokerage, but at that point he was still CEO of Cushman. And so the team had an opportunity to go over to JLL, but stay together, and we did it.
So you're there 5 years, and this, when you were working at Cushman, you had the opportunity to work with Arthur Moranti.
Correct.
Wonderful individual who started in Cushman basically in the legal side of the transaction and grew to become president and CEO prior to Bruce.
Correct.
So what happens? So here's this company called Avison Young, Canadian-based company, people in Chicago, people in Canada, and what's the opportunity?
Knew nothing about them. Knew nothing about them. I just ran into Arthur at a broker function, and I love Arthur. He is one of the great human beings I've ever met. And he was prolific at Cushman and Wakefield. So I met him at this event, and he started telling me why he had just gone over to Avison. Sounded like an interesting story, but didn't really resonate. And a short while after, I ran into another guy that I had worked with at Cushman, a gentleman by the name of Jeff Heller, who's running the Avison office in New Jersey. And he told me more about Avison and how he felt that I would be perfect for the role of running the New York office.
But this is different, okay?
Completely.
From the leasing area, which you continue to be involved in leasing, you now management, okay?
Right.
You know, you're
Well, management and brokerage.
and brokerage,
Right.
but your management of an office, of the Manhattan office of Avison. How large is Avison in Manhattan today?
In Manhattan, it's about 100 people, all service lines, great individuals, and just a great environment. Great environment. The company has an NAR rule. It's the no asshole rule. It's in the bylaws of the company. I have my own rules. It's the WARE rule. That stands for warmth, appreciation, respect, and empathy. I live my life with that.
So with regard to that, now let's talk about the family. Tell me about you're engaged. You're going to be married when?
September 17th,
Her name is?
Melissa.
And how did you meet Melissa?
Melissa worked for a client of mine many years ago. Wonderful, wonderful person. So worked with her company for a couple of years and then lost touch with her. And about 5-6 years ago, she saw my name on a billboard outside of 100 Park, because we had the agency on that building at that time.
And she called you up.
She called me up, and she said, "Don't know if you'll remember me, but I'm with a new firm, and we need space. Can I meet you?"
And now you're getting
Now we're getting married on September 17th.
And tell me about your sons. Their names.
Two boys,
What they do.
Remy and Taylor. Remy is at Cushman and Wakefield. Very proud to say that he was the top associate for 2015. Went to school at Lehigh, knew that he wanted to get into commercial real estate, came out, high honors from Lehigh, and said, "I want to get into the business, but I don't want to work with you." So I introduced him to Uncle Bruce and a few other people in the industry, and he ultimately decided to work at Cushman.
And your other son?
Taylor just graduated from Northeastern and just got his first job, and he's going to be working for Northwestern Mutual up in Boston.
You know, you have to say, everything is, circumstances and being in the right place at the right time and taking advantage and being able to adapt. And I think the idea of the Puppy Palace and Bruce coming over to you and saying, "Hey, let's, sell something that you can make money," was really good. And you've been given back. And best of luck on the wedding.
Thank you so
and
much.
take care of the sons, and thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much.